So everyone, I'm going to share about layout type in a factory or plant. So actually there are so many things, there are so many aspects that need to be considered when we layout of a facility. For example, the flow of material, the space requirement, and also the activity relationships. So these three things has strong connection in order to put the best layout in a factory. So in a flow, you have to consider the people flow, the equipment flow, the informations, and the money flows. In the space requirement, it is better that you determine the space of each facility that already used in the factory. And don't forget to put the allowance in each facility. And then the space, also you have to consider the material handling that already used and will be used in the future. So make sure that the layout and also the material handling issue can be covered in this stage. And the last one is the activity relationship. It means it has a very strong relationship in determining the layout, because somehow that the layout will be taken by the series of the process, which is the series of activity that occur in the manufacturing floor. Okay. And after that, in departmental planning, you have to consider so many aspects, just like putting the same products or the same machines and then grouping and classify in a certain area, because it can be used this kind of consideration when we want to apply the layout. There are so many types of layout, including the product layout, process layout, group of technology, and fixed layout. I'm going to tell you one by one and also the advantage and disadvantage of this layout. So if you have a very bulky, for example, very bulky and it's hard to be moved, it is better that you use fixed layout. It means that the equipment, the machine will become closer to your assembly workstations. And for those that has standardized product, standardized form, standardized shape, and very stable demand, so it's better that you use a product layout, which is also known as a flow shops. And the other name, okay, this is the opposite of product layout, which is a job shop. So the job shop is basically grouping by the process. So if the activity using the same process, using the same machine, it can be classified by using a process layout. And for those who can be grouped as a family part, which is the same shape, the same shape of the spare part or the material, you can use a group layout. Okay, now this is a volume and the quantity chart. So whether you have a very high volume and the variation of the product is very low, you may use the product layout. But if your variations of your product is very high but the volume is very small, which is the very small part, you may use the process layout. And the middle is a group layout, which is the hybrid of the product layout and also the process layout. For fixed layout, you may use that product that has a very bulky and very heavy and it's very hard to be moved. This is the example of fixed layout. So for example, I have a machine, welding machine, grinding machine, drilling machine, painting, and etc. And this machine will be close to the assembly warehouse, assembly workstations. So after I get closer to this, I can transfer the material to the warehouse equipment. So in this case, when you face that the product is very heavy to be moved, very heavy to be transferred, so the machine will be clumped closer and do the simultaneous serial activity. And after that, we will move to the next workstations. And then this is the advantage of fixed layout. The material transfers is reduced because it's very heavy and very bulky. And also the material handling that will be used is very expensive because it requires more technological issue and more capable operators. And then great team building that support in continuity of operation and team responsibility. It may improve the productivity, it may increase the work pride and the quality because an individual can complete the entire work. And it is very flexible because it can be moved. The layout can be moved if somehow the company want to change the series of the flow of material. And the last one, it may accommodate the changes in product design, product mix, and product volumes. So most of the project, the big project, for example, airplane assembly using this kind of layout because the material that will be transferred has the bigger volume and very big to be shifted in one point to another point. And then this is the advantage of fixed layout, including personal movement and material handling increases. Although equipment duplications require good personal skill, requires a general supervisor, requires a lot of space and increased work in process, require close control and coordination when scheduling the production. So this is the example of the fixed layout. And the product layout, as seen in this picture, that the product layout is classified by the products. By the product that produced in a company, or a product or maybe a spare part that produced in the company. So as you can see in here, we have A, B, C spare part and will be assembled and then move to the storage. And to produce an A product, it passed through series of activities such as lathe, drilling machine, grinding machine, and drilling machines. But to produce product B, it requires 3 process and 3 different machines, and will be applicable to product C and D. It has different machine and it has also different process. So the layout will be classified by the series of an activity to produce a certain product. The advantage of product layout is the layout in accordance with the order of the process, so that generally the process is a line shape. As you can see here, is a very line shape because it's very easy to be moved and very easy to communicate each other. For example, the operator and also the material flow. So commonly use a line shape. And the work of one process is directly done in the next process, so that the total production time per unit is very short. The work in process material become less. The machine is placed with a minimum distance. And the last one is less activity during the production process. The disadvantage of product layout, it may damage to one machine that will result to the production process stop at the same time. For example, if drilling machine is damaged, so product A can be produced. We have to fix this machine first, and after that, product A can be made. So basically, the machine is very dependable and is really complicated issue when one machine is not working. Okay, the layout is determined by the product being processed. Change in the product design requires a re-layout, just I mentioned before. Production speed is determined by the machine that operates the slowest. Require high investment because you have to invest so many machines, and also you can find some duplication machine. For example, the drilling machine is already used in making the product A, and also already used in product C, so it has a very investment cost. It requires a very high investment. So the product layout design is basically based on the product related to cross-product balancing issues. So the manufacturing system layout produce standard product with large volume with low product variations. Okay, this is product layout type. Basically, they use A-line shape and also U shape. Okay, and then somehow they use O shape. It facilitates better communication and better supervision because you can see ingress and egress operators, and also they can monitor in and out product. Okay, so the material in and material out can be supervised easily. Process layout is classified by using the same machines. So mostly they grouping by the same machine. For example, an activity that use the same machine will be grouped together. Lathe, grading, drilling, grinding, and it can minimize the investment. The process layout is already known as a job shop and it's very difficult to make a scheduling because they don't classify by the series of the process. They're using a machine issue to make a great layout. So there is so many pros and cons if we use this layout. The pros one, which is the advantage of process layout, the use of machine is more effective. No duplication machine, and the operator flexibility and large production facility are capable of handling various types and models of product. The machine investment is very small compared to the product layout. The diversity of tasks makes the workforce more challenged and motivated. Better and more efficient supervision activities through job specializations. And this is the shortfall of the process layout. The process flow is not simple, that causes the expensive material handling costs. Longer total production time, work in process inventory is quite large. The skill level of the workforce must be high because of the high variety of the production activities. The difficulty in balancing the work of each production facility is due to the placement of the machine in groups. And this is the group layout. The layout group are grouped by the part of the family. As you can see in this picture that the plant or factory requires so many parts. And then we organize by using the same shape. For example, the geometric, the cylinder one, the cubicle, we can classify by the shape. So for example, this is the example of group layout. They're using the same spare part of the shape. So based on the grouping of part to the product family, non-identical part may be grouped into families based on common processing sequence, shapes, material composition, tooling requirement, handling, storage, control requirement, and so on. So you can classify by using these considerations. The advantage of group layout, it can reduce the transfer time between different activities. The preparation of the machine is based on the product family that result, reducing engine setup time, reducing the production floor time, reducing material handling costs. If one of the process stops, other alternative can be found. Easily identify the bottleneck and quickly respond to schedule change. So there's so many advantages if we use a group layout. And this is the shortfall of the group layout. It may has low engine utility. It allows for machine duplication, higher cost for machine reallocation, and it requires high discipline so that the part that is processed is not located in the wrong cell. This is the example of group layout. So this spare part, this material, will be grouped as the same shape. They group into families with similar characteristics and will be coding, system, describe processing, and physical characteristics. Part family can be produced in dedicated manufacturing cell. This is the example of product flow before a group layout. As you can see here, there's so many backtracking and bed transferring. If we reallocate it by using group layout, the flow of material is very clear, and it can decrease the damage between the operator and also the material handling.